Taker, and I saw him after the Hall of Fame and told him, you know, that was a hell of a Taker TED talk you gave out there. I hope you plan to take this on the road and make some money off of it, because I was blown away. I was all these years he spent just, I'm going to bury you, boy. You could have been out there just talking away for an hour. Such an eloquent speaker. So you got to move that into a new career now.
I'm Alex McCarthy, and for the first time in a long time, it's actually my header on Twitter, the last time we had Drew McIntyre in the studio, and I believe that was, what, 2019, maybe?
That's mental how fast time goes by.
I know. You've done a little bit since then. But Drew McIntyre is in the TalkSport studios today. Delighted to have him, part of the European tour. But this is basically a prelude, Drew, to the big one in September 3rd, Cardiff, Principality Stadium. I'm saying it, man. You made it happen. It's part of the Drew McIntyre legacy now.
It's happening. I cannot believe it's finally happening. So excited about it. I can't take all the credit, obviously. Our amazing team at WWE have been working on it for a while. The fans made their voice heard, and it is finally bloody happening. September 3rd, we got the stadium show, and you've seen some of the chatter online. You've seen some of the numbers. We can safely say it's the most anticipated show in WWE history.
Listen, you could do 2 nights. You could.
Well, let's just see how this one goes, and then I can go back to management and go, see, let's do Ibrox now.
Yeah. I mean, Principality makes all the sense in the world with the roof, and this is Britain after all. Was there any other contenders for stadiums? I know you've just said Ibrox, but, you know.
I mean, that's just me fantasy.
Yeah, nostalgia-wise, I think a lot of people thought 30 years from Wembley. What did you think of that?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not involved in those talks, but obviously
well,
a few,
just from a performance standpoint.
Yeah, there were a few of the stadiums on the table, but you know, the Principality is the one as far as I'm concerned, especially, you know, meeting everybody from the board in Cardiff, finding out information about the stadium, and inevitably actually getting to be inside it. I look around and just see how gigantic yet how intimate it feels, and how close the roof is to the pitch. And I was thinking, oh my God, this is going to be genuinely the loudest show of all time by miles. I just stopped myself swearing right there. That's how excited I am about it.
You can do what you want on this show. We'll bleep it. It's fine.
Fuck it. I want to. I'm so Scottish. In real life, I can't stop myself, but I'm professional on the air.
Yeah, of course.
But I am very, very freaking excited about it. And it is, if you watch ECW One Night Stand, that's one of the examples I've been given to people, and just watch the crowd of a couple of thousand people, how excited they were in the building that night. Amplify that by 100. That's how loud it's going to be on September 3rd.
That's one of my favourite pay-per-views as well, man. As mentioned, we're part of the European tour. It's going to be at the O2 tonight. I'm very much looking forward to yourself and Roman throwing hands in the O2 tonight. What happened last night, man? We're all seeing the video of you and Lashley in the top rope.
Well, Bobby Lashley likes to go viral, I guess. TMZ had picked it up within about 20 minutes. Yeah, I mean, we were having ourselves a hell of a main event in Newcastle. The night was awesome. The show was awesome. I was thinking about hitting a Claymore as we're both hitting the ropes, and I hit the rope and the rope exploded. If you watch closely, as I hit the rope, it breaks and I'm able to stop myself. And poor Bobby did not have a rope left to hit, and he spun right to the floor. I saw the way he landed. Thankfully, I saw head over heels, hit his shoulders and traps on the apron, not his head, which took him right onto his feet. So I knew he was okay. I've done the same thing in the past, but yeah, it was a scary moment, but we recovered and we sent everybody home happy. And plus, it's Bobby Lashley. He's indestructible.
Yeah, well, I was going to say, he's got some shoulders and traps to fall on, to be fair to him,
He's got all the shoulders and all the traps. Recently, he said to me, like all of us, you know, in WWE, we try to work out, look our best. When you're traveling, you're not eating exactly the best. You feel like, I don't feel in such great shape right now. He said that recently, and I looked at him, shut up, Bobby. You don't get to say that. The rest of us get to say that. You don't get to talk about not feeling in good shape.
Yeah, that guy is a specimen, man. We had a little chat last week prior to the Tyson Fury Dillian White fight. Of course, the Gypsy King came out on top. But one thing I did want to get into that we didn't really get to with that was the Baron Corbin WrestleMania match. Because I do think your WrestleMania match, your history, I should say, in recent years, and Lashley's a good example of that, right? And Brock into Corbin. I was in the crowd for WrestleMania weekend when he said the line about your late mother, right? Everyone was like, ooh. Is that something that I guess you said, yep, fine? Because I felt like everyone in the crowd was like, oh my God, that's a bit close.
Yeah, I mean, nothing like that gets said on our television program without the talent's approval and being comfortable with it. For me, the where we were at with the story, we've been going for 6 months. They'd attacked me, took credit for the neck injury, took me out. I returned at Rumble, and since then it was very much me beating on Madcap the whole time.
Yeah.
It felt to me like we weren't quite where we needed to be for a WrestleMania match. It needed something more. It needed something more personal to take it to the next level. And I spoke to, the powers that be, the man himself. Were able to, on the Monday, get some heat finally on Drew McIntyre, which hadn't happened yet to that point. I felt like it was important. Stole the sword, which was named after my late mum, which is so cool. Whenever I read for myself, my family, Drew and Angela come and scare everybody away, or Angela to the rescue for Drew. It's awesome. But it felt like it needed even more, and I knew they had the Happy Talk. It should be called Happy Hour. Happy Talk's a stupid name. But,
yeah, it's a good shout.
Nonetheless, they had the talking segment, and I felt like it just needed that one more thing. And I said, I'd like a line in there to make it more personal. I'll approve it. I'll make sure it's not too far, but enough to make people go, ooh, that was a bit much, but not step over the line, because I know she would like that. And she would get a kick out of it, and that's 100% the reason I was comfortable doing it. And we figured out one that got that reaction, but I didn't feel like it was too far. It was just pointing out the truth, and it's a hard truth, it's a hurtful truth, but I felt like it got us where we needed to get to the day before the match. Well,
I'm glad that you said that, because as I just mentioned, Brock Lesnar, just frankly destroying him at WrestleMania 36. You had a big titanic clash with Bobby Lashley the next year. I don't want to say this with any disrespect to Baron Corbin, but is that what you mean? Like, you wanted the story to mean more, because again, your WrestleMania legacy at that point, you've been in big, high-profile spots, and again, you want your singles date at WrestleMania to matter, right?
Yeah, 100%. I had a few people saying that leading up to Mania, which is why I wanted to take it to the next level more than anything. It's like one of these matches is not like the other. You've got Roman at Mania, returning from the leukemia, and my first WrestleMania returning, and beating Brock obviously for the title, fighting Lashley for the title, then the match with Corbin. And, it'd been a 6-month build. We'd treated it as the rest was about the glory, was about the championships. This one's personal. And I really just wanted to make sure, okay, we need one more thing just to take it over the line. This is personal, but let's really make it personal, and it's going to be memorable, and there's certain things I wanted to happen out there. And I know how good Corbin is. He's one of our few genuine bad guys that people just love to boo, say such negative things about him online, and then people say, well, they just don't like him online. I'm like, that's because he's a bad guy. If people say, this guy's such a good heel, that means they're a really bad guy. If people start putting over what a great bad guy they are. Yeah. He's a genuine bad guy. He's good in the ring. I'm a big guy, and he's a bigger guy, so they're able to get sympathy. He's able to beat me up, and it looked believable, which is not easy to do when you're my size, 6'5", 270. And I knew it'd be a really good match, and I wanted something special to pay off the sword as well, because I started coming to the ring, swinging at people's heads. Some people still cheer me somehow. I don't know how I'm the good guy.
Trying to murder people. Yeah,
swinging that thing around. But I wanted to, finally use the sword, pay it off, because I can't bring it to the ring without a payoff, and obviously I can't shank somebody. So I suggested stabbing the sword into the ring on Smackdown, which we did, and cutting the top rope, which was genuinely a terrifying moment, because it was either going to work and look awesome, or it wasn't going to work, and I was going to be horribly embarrassed in front of the world.
WrestleMania as well, there was a lot of legends banging around. I know you've said before that Undertaker was someone who gave you some advice many moons ago. We got to see him go into the Hall of Fame. Did you get any chance chats with Steve Austins or the Undertakers at that weekend?
Oh, yeah. Got to speak to all of them, got to catch up. It's crazy to me, even today, as I speak to them, as peers, and on the same level, on the same wavelength. In the back of my mind, I'm still that kid in Scotland who was watching them growing up, dreaming about being in WWE. But these days it's awesome to see them, and especially I saw Steve, right before he was going to start working on what he was going to do for Mania, and talking to him, it's so crazy. I'm on a WrestleMania with Stone Cold. How you feeling? On the night of Mania, I gave him some advice, which was also surreal.
You gave Steve some advice.
He's not been around for 20 years, and I could see, though, he's a very confident guy, a very intense guy. The way the character is, that's how he is in real life. But no, I'd mostly just reminded him to breathe. Like, that's the one thing you forget when you're out the game for a minute, and even like the injuries I've had, you come back, you forget, your adrenaline's so high, the crowd is so loud, you sometimes forget to breathe, and you're like, oh my goodness, I'm sucking wind.
That kind of what blows you up a bit.
Yeah. I was like, I'm not breathing. That's why we talked about that, and with Taker, about the Hall of Fame, and finally, this is the proper send-off he deserves. And, you know, he gave me some advice, as he always does, because I'm always picking his brain about how to approach this match and going forward as a character. And I saw him after the Hall of Fame and told him, you know, that was a hell of a Taker TED talk you gave out there. I hope you plan to take this on the road and make some money off of it, because I was blown away. It was all these years he spent just, I'm going to bury you, boy. You could have been out there just talking away for an hour. Such an eloquent speaker. So you got to move that into a new career now.
I know that weekend as well was the first time a lot of the talent got to see Triple H in a long time.
Yeah.
I know he had addressed you guys, I think it was on the Thursday. Obviously awesome to see him back healthy. You know, and again, he played a big part in your story in getting you back to WWE in the first place, right? I know the recruitment is slightly different in NXT now and how all that works. But still, for you, A, did you ever try and get a match out of Triple H on your return to WWE at any point? And B, just how important would you say he's been to your journey?
Yeah, I mean, I wanted a match. It's unfortunate it wouldn't happen, but I'm just glad, you know, he's healthy for himself and his family. But yeah, he's the reason I'm back in WWE 100%. My mind was set at the time when I wasn't going to re-sign with Impact that I was going to Japan. It was made up in my mind. Nothing could change my mind. And Regal, William Regal, always been a mentor, gave me a call and said, speak to Triple H on the phone first before you make any decisions. And that led to the phone call. Triple H and I spoke for about 40 minutes, and my mind was made up within the first 10. I was talking, just, you know, him telling me, I've been watching you, and I was thinking, I appreciate that, Hunter, but no, you haven't. You're too busy. You've got too much to do. You're not sitting watching Drew indie matches. But sure enough, he the way he spoke about, you know, some of my matches and how much it developed. Wow, he really has been watching. Aside the fact he was, you know, proud how far I'd come as a performer, it meant more to me that he was proud how far I'd come as a man as well, and growing up, and made it clear it was time to come home. And I knew, literally, as I say, with 10 minutes, that 40-minute conversation, it was time to come home. And
how right he was.
Yeah. I mean, and I knew it. Like, just having, I didn't know it until I spoke to him, and then I knew right away it's time to come back. Just where I'm at in my career, and I knew it was NXT as well. Like, somewhere I can make a difference as somebody that's got the experience, teach some of the lessons, what to do, what not to do, kind of bring up all our talent, lead by example. And that niche audience know exactly what I'm about today, as opposed to what I was about in the past. And that was his thoughts anyway, so we're on the same wavelength. I was just like, I'm not popping up and running SmackDown, let's just start here. We go from there. We made an agreement, and he stuck to agreement 100%. He's been amazing to me ever since I came back, and yeah, just happy that he's healthy.
No, so you didn't ever get the chance during the NXT run or early in the main roster to say, what about if me and you, Triple H? Was that never? Oh,
yeah. Obviously, I pitched the opportunity I could. It was more like, how about us at WrestleMania? What's the story? We'll figure it out. But how about me and you at WrestleMania? Like, how awesome would that be? But yeah, I mean, we got the chance to get in the ring together a few times, like during my first run. But in Japan, it was myself, I want to say Dolph, and I can't remember our other partner. But it was against the Good Brothers, AJ and Hunter in Japan. So wow. that was really cool. We got in the ring together, and I remember we didn't have anything in mind that we were going to do. We just kind of went in there and went for it. And it was cool to, you know, go back and forth a little bit and just understand how good he really is and what a general he really is. You can see watching, but you don't know how good somebody is till you're in with them, and just that little interaction during an 8-man tag in Japan, I could tell, like, wow, he's really freaking good.
You know, I saw Vince McMahon say the other day that Austin Theory is a future world champion in WWE.
Never heard that before.
I know.
So in about 11 years' time, he's going to raise that title right up.
It was the first thing that came to my mind was the chosen one moment. What do you think of Austin and Vince McMahon endorsement?
Yeah, I think he's great. You know, I met him a few years ago when he was even younger than he is now, and he's only about 24 years old.
Because you worked Evolve, didn't you?
Yeah. I told him that, and he said, no, we didn't. And I'm pretty sure we did. So maybe he's not got the best memory in the world as a youngster, but you know, he's very driven, he's very talented. He gives it his all every single time. He wants to learn, he asks questions. He looks amazing, and he's 24 years old. The thing about recent years is a lot of our talent is coming through is in their mid to late 30s. And they'll get a great run, but we need a few people who are that young that we can get a good 20 years worth of investment out of. I remember a conversation with, I wouldn't name names, but a couple of the guys, like 38, 39. Someone was saying to me, we got to do this, we got to get the kid over in a match I was in. I was like, listen, if the kid doesn't go over now, he's not getting over. He's 3 years older than me, and I've been around for 20 years. So it's good that we've got someone like himself we can really invest in, and they're doing it right this time with the Chosen One thing with myself. Vince and I were on screen a couple of times, but then Nexus wrote him off. So I was kind of floating by myself. It wasn't quite working. I was talking about him, but he was never physically there. Now he's like doing the work on screen. The story is great. I see opportunities for himself and myself perhaps to do something. When I watch every week, I'm like, wow, how interesting would it be if we had a little program and it's more like myself versus Vince, and I didn't return for you, I returned to spite you, and I returned for them, and whatever you believe he's saying, he'll throw you under the bus eventually. And that's what my mind's always up to. Yeah. It's not just for theory, it's for everyone in the roster. I have to come up with storylines when I'm watching them. Like, I could go here, and that's what's so exciting with the talent we have.
I thought your run as champion was a good example of that. You found stories of everyone, right? I think that kind of is a testament to how your brain's always turning like that.
I'm a crazy person. So I just think about wrestling 24/7. It drives the missus nuts, but also at the same time, she's the only one that can turn off my wrestling brain, which is healthy when I get home. I'm able to relax, sit on the couch, watch some TV with her and the cats. And then once I switch it back on, I've got even more ideas. So everyone out there that's a workaholic, 24/7, 7 days a week is not healthy. If you can switch it off, you get even more ideas. If you get that separation, and it's not easy. I know when you're a crazy person about what you love.
Here's a question, speaking of ideas. A lot of titles being amalgamated and unified lately. Should we have a European title, Drew? Should it be brought back?
Yes.
Do you reckon?
Yeah, I just want it, because when I was a kid and I saw it, I was like, oh man, I want to be European champion, and I can't be because it doesn't exist right now. But yeah, I don't like too many titles. There are a lot of titles right now, but I just wanted it when I was a kid, so just bring it back, let me win it, and then I'll retire it, and then we're back to the event we've got.
Done deal.
Yeah, so that's the thing, you never want too many titles in a company that's not as special. So I think where we're at right now is good, but give old Drew the European title, just for young Drew.
Yeah, listen, put it on the Cardiff show. Get the European title in there. I'm sure that
I've got about 50 things people are pitching at me, like, would you do this and do this? I was like, you know what, I'll do it all. I'll win the European title, I'll fight Roman for both the titles, I'll fight Fury, I'll do it all in one night. Game's a good one.
Before we finish on some wrestling questions, let's talk a bit of football, man. Rangers.
Good to say that to me. I'm from here.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Football, you ball, you kick up your feet, as I tell the Americans when they say to me, I saw you're a soccer fan. I'm like, yeah. Football. You kick up your feet. American football, you predominantly throw your hand. It should be called handball.
This is true. This is true. I forget that I have to correct myself every time I say that to an American. But nonetheless, Rangers, man, are on the home straight. They could be in time for European glory. We had a bit of a rough night for the Europeans last night in European competition, actually. But you've got Leipzig to come on this European tour as well. You're going to be behind enemy lines, Drew, basically.
Well, the way I see it is, Rangers were just thinking about me. And they were like, man, Drew's got to wrestle there on Sunday, and he's supposed to be a good guy. If we beat them, he's going to get booed out the building. So what we should do is just let them get one, feel good about themselves. They'll cheer Drew on Sunday, then we'll smash them at Ibrox. So it's all part of the master plan for Rangers just looking out for old Drew McIntyre.
Have you had a chance to watch it? Because a lot of people thought Rangers did well.
No, I've not had a chance to watch it. I've got a group chat with some of my buddies that are Rangers fans, and they were, saying like, hey, this was a good result for us. I was busy wrestling in Newcastle last night when it was going on, and I found out after myself and Lashley finished, I was heading back, taking some pictures, slapping some hands, kissing some hands and shaking some babies, and then...
Yeah.
And then one of the guys in the crowd went, mate, we lost 1-0, but it's all right. We'll get them at Ibrox.
It's all right.
That's what I found out.
Has Sheamus said much about Liverpool's European... the quadruple might be on. He'll be hard to shut up if that happens, surely.
I don't know. I've heard more from my brother, who's a Manchester City fan, about how they're going to get it done. They're top of the league at the moment. But yeah, he can say all he wants, Sheamus. In the end, he's a fair weather fan. That's why he talks about them so much. It's 1 minute he's a Liverpool fan, and then when it suits him, he's a Celtic fan. I'm like, mate, shut up. You're a Dublin City fan, whoever the team is.
We have to wrap up here because you're going to be going on air, but I just want to finish with Sheamus, funnily enough. Was there ever a plan for you two to be like in the tag team division full on, or maybe go for the tag belts? I know you've been tag champ before, Cody and Dolph, I think, actually, the dashing ones. Yes. But Sheamus, I feel like there was a lot of people that had a lot of affection for that. Was that going to be part of the story, maybe?
I'm sure it was talked about. It was certainly talked about by us. I think it would have been awesome if we were able to, extend what we were doing with Sheamus and I. I think it had more legs before the turn happened. And I think it's something we can come back to. Just what we were able to achieve in the Thunderdome with the limited time we had and the 3 big matches we had that ended, with the Falls Count Anywhere match where I threw him through the screen and wore the paint and stuff.
Yeah.
We only told a fraction of our story. We can certainly come back to that. Maybe we can get back on the same page. Maybe we can get that, team run because the chemistry is also there. And then eventually smash each other again because that's what we do.